Biology is often seen as Darwin's territory, but Dr. Stephen Meyer shows the opposite. He argues that DNA is a language full of information, and information always comes from a mind. He also points to the Cambrian explosion where life appears suddenly and fully formed with no gradual Darwinian steps. His work reframes biology around intelligence, not chance, and that intelligence is best explained by God. Here's a quick clip by Dr. Myers breaking down the problems in neo-Darwinian evolution through an analogy he makes with computers.
This is another information-rich hierarchy. We've got a laptop computer, so we can now, with the technology known as CAD/CAM, we can use information to build single components of an electrical circuit. So we take a flow of information, we build maybe the capacitors and the resistors and the transistors mechanically using information that's encoded in this computer-assisted manufacturing process. But those parts do not a circuit board make, nor does the circuit board make the personal computer. What's critical to make that circuit board is you got to get all the parts arranged in the right way, and that requires a higher level of assembly instructions. And then likewise, to get the circuit board into a full computer, you've got to have a lot of other parts. You've got to have switches and cords and all kinds of wires, and you've got to have the chassis, and you've got to have the keyboard, and all of those parts require assembly instructions as well. So the information for building the low-level parts does not suffice to build the whole high-level system, and the same exact thing is true in biology. DNA provides information for building proteins, but that information alone is not sufficient to build the higher-level structures. And now what that means for evolutionary theory is really profound, because the mutation selection mechanism is operating at the lowest level of that biological hierarchy. We look at the DNA, the whole idea of neo-Darwinism is you get changes in the DNA strand and the nucleotide sequence, and that's going to give you a new protein. But that means that in the best of cases, even if you can overcome the long odds that we've just been describing to find one of those new proteins in that vast combinatorial sequence space, you're still not going to get to build new cell types, organs, tissues, or body plans, because you need higher level instructions, other sources of information. In my book, Darwin's Doubt, I talk about some of those other sources that are known. The point is, we know that this additional information is necessary. It's not stored in the DNA, and that means you could mutate the DNA till the cows come home, or indefinitely over billions of years, and you will never get beyond generating a new protein, even if you can solve those probabilistic problems I was just talking about. This is a really fundamental problem, and it's leading a lot of evolutionary biologists to say we need a new theory.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.